Now we are back
Yes.
at the Mixer stage here live at E3, and we're chatting about a little game called Dying Light 2.
That's right, and we're going to welcome to the stage, of course, Adrian.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and introduce you. Can you tell the viewers kind of who you are, what you do for Dying Light 2, and let's talk, and then we'll talk about Dying Light 2.
All right. I'm a creative director at Techland, working currently on Dying Light 2. So basically, I'm the vision keeper. I'm the one who's responsible for how the game will look at the end.
Nice, that's super exciting. And Dying Light, of course, many gamers out there and many fans out there on chat will definitely know this game. Huge success here. I mean, how does it feel to be coming off that? I wouldn't even call it a surprise success because I'm sure you knew it. You poured your heart and soul into it. You knew they were going to love it.
That's an awesome feeling. Really, we are really amazed about the people that how they playing, what they're doing to us. We still have like 500,000 unique players every week. 3 years after
and 3 years, right?
Yeah, 3 years.
Wow.
So the game is still alive. So yeah, we're really amazed about the effort. Yeah.
Well, huge congrats to your team for this.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. Now, before we dive in any more with you, Adrian, we're actually going to check out the trailer for
All
Dying
right.
Light 2.
It's been 15 years since the fall. The city is a corpse, and we are the worms. We burrow in it, fighting for every useful piece of land to preserve ourselves from the terrors of the night and the horrors of the day.
I know not who can hear my voice. I shall therefore speak a word unto hear. Anyone who dares to steal food will be hanged, and their bodies will be exposed.
Every day we rise from dust to choose between bad and worse.
Get him! You're dead now!
And these choices we take to survive will create the world to come. You know the drill. Get to the nearest safe house and wait until dawn. Good night, and good luck.
Well, that was only mildly terrifying with that scream at the end. I just had turned my mic up a little bit. That was amazing. That was Dying Light 2, as many of you saw the trailer earlier this week. Beautiful scenery, beautiful panoramas. Can we jump in and can you talk to us a little bit about the scale of the city we just
All
saw?
right. Yeah, it's really impressive. It's like 4 times bigger city than the whole maps from the Dying Light 1 and Dying Light following together. So like a massive, big city without loading seamlessly. You can traverse out through the entire city. Everything you saw in a trailer or in this gameplay section on the horizon, it's like fully explorable.
I love that. Everything the light touches, basically, you can run through and get terrified by.
I was gonna say, speaking of the light, let's talk a little bit about that day and night mechanic and how that, share more about that cycle.
All right. The entire night section is actually a bit redefined. Actually, all of the pillars from this first game, like parkour, combat, day-night cycle, in fact, that it's all reworked in a massive way. And the same for, of course, the night. Yeah. So basically, we are thinking about night as an opportunity, as a sandbox system, so you can use the night to achieve different effects during the exploration, during approaching the missions. So because of the population, that it's kind of different during the day and during the night. During the day, it's more about human, about people that are living in the city, because it's 15 years after the fall, like in a trailer. So basically, they kind of learn how to survive during the day with infected, still living in the city. But during the night, things got different because there are still a lot of infected in dark zones. They're living outside, and the city is much more populated with very dangerous predators. So basically, as I mentioned, during the day, it's really hard to dive into darkness. During the night, it's easier to dive into darkness. So it creates an opportunities to maybe go through the tunnel and get to the other part of the city that it's really hard to reach during the day. During the night it is, because there are no zombies.
That makes me nervous when thinking about approaching a dark tunnel.
Of course, it's a huge tension during night. There are still pursuits, there are a lot of predators that you need to avoid, but still, there's still much more space to fight, to interact with infected rather than in that first game. So that's the biggest difference in terms of the population. There's more about night, but unfortunately I can't tell you right now more about that because we're still much more focused right now on the new pillar, new element in Dying Light universe, which is called choices and consequences.
Interesting. Now I know you can't talk a ton about night, but can you tell us, is it going to be just as dangerous or even more dangerous than the first one?
It will be for sure a thriller never seen before for you.
Fantastic. An anxiety attack ready to go on wheels. I like it.
Neato.
Yeah.
That's great. Now, I know always, with video games and especially Dying Light, there's consequences to certain decisions you might make. Does Dying Light 2, bring that in, like consequences to the decisions you might make?
Yeah.
Because it says your world, and so I have to assume that that little tease there, yeah.
Yeah, it's a big premise. I know that. It's our way of thinking. I mean, choices and consequences. It's not just branching a story. We are thinking about that like about narrative sandbox. That's actually our internal name for that. It means that there are clear rules that player can learn from the city, like exploring the city, learn about this faction, this guy, see weakest point or secrets about things, and eventually he can use to create a different setup of the world. And this setup might help him in the way of the ultimate goal from the game. So basically, this narrative sandbox is our idea for choices and consequences. It's very much connected with gameplay. So all of the consequences are related to gameplay. You can have access to new tools, access to new land, to vehicles, or you can have allies or enemies. It's just up to you. So that's our idea how to connect it.
Ooh, that's quite a bit. I like it. Now, how well that the original Dying Light was received, how does that impact the way that you guys go into this second ideation?
All right, so that was kind of funny because at the very beginning we had a little bit different idea for the sequel, but when the game was released, a lot of people sent us videos about how they play Dying Light, and we were like amazed how they doing that. That wasn't even designed, how they progressing the game, how they're doing the parkour, killing the enemies. That was really wow. So we thought that we need to add more tools, more options to the players. So all of the pillars like combat, parkour, day and night cycle, they were all improved in the way of increasing the level of agency in a game, giving player more options to finish the game or do things. So it's more like sandbox experience when you're playing the game. It's much more higher level than in the first game. So that's because of people, of our fans.
Completely unique experience to your friend or your other game mates.
Excuse me?
You can have a completely unique experience in the way that you're going to be coming into Dying Light 2 rather than the people that you're playing with.
Yeah, absolutely. And I loved seeing the community, all the videos. I remember seeing them online because you build a game one way, but you gave them a sandbox. So like, here's some badass parkour, here's some really cool weapons, and here's a terrifying environment.
Yeah.
Go have fun. And I saw that they were making they were doing all these montages and these videos.
Yeah.
And sometimes, and then the multiplayer, they were having really great elements of that.
It gave us a lot of power, to create the sequel,
Pretty much opening up that chest for you guys to then go, all right, now let's make a sequel. Now, the first one taking place in the city of Haran, I believe.
Yeah.
This one, I'm curious, and especially for those diehards, like, how long has gone by, and where are we at?
It's 15 years after the fall, so basically it's not Haran. It's a different place in the world. It's a Europe, fictional city. It's called The City. So the bastion of survivors.
Nice.
And it has the connection between the first game and the Dying Light 2 is more about the universe, the lore, and the virus. But the rest is kind of different because it's 15
a brand new
years.
experience, yeah.
New characters, new hero, everything is different. So the only connection is the universe.
Nice, nice.
Oh wow, that answered my next question in terms of what's the big difference between the two. Everything but the universe.
Excuse me?
Sorry. Actually, I can even move on to the next question because
Yeah,
I was mostly just talking about the differences between 1 and 2 and
Okay.
what people can expect and a whole lot of new stuff. It sounds
Absolutely,
like.
yeah. Sounds like, definitely on a larger scale, a much more rich scale, and a lot of fans are probably going to be very excited. Now, enemies of the game are a
Yep.
very big part of it. It's a very intimate part of it because they are surrounding you 24/7, sometimes passively in a day cycle, maybe from the first game, and sometimes very aggressively. What kind of enemies can I expect to be absolutely terrified and you give me nightmares about?
Well, in Dying Light 2, not only infected are terrifying, there are also much more impact on humans. So there are a lot of faction members, bandits that are really terrifying. They have armors that looking like, oh my god, very like hellish. So eventually you will be thrilled not only because of infected. In terms of infected, we have plenty of new zombies. Like I don't know the right amount of those new versions, but it is improved. On the human side, that's the biggest change. Is like 5 times more different enemies. Yeah.
Wow. So diverse nightmares. Thank you.
Yeah, and they created like some of them are even procedurally created. They behave a bit different. They're learning from you how you're fighting because it's more tactical approach for the combat. So it's not that easy. Like you learn the trick and it's one trick pony all the time.
Yeah, and I love that you mentioned that, because you can't just run straight on. You have a very unique, we'll call it movement system in Dying Light, and of course in Dying Light 2, as you can see from the trailers. I'd love for to share a little bit to our players and fans about that, about like what inspired that unique parkour system, and why is it so important to Dying Light 2?
The parkour was a key for us. The idea for parkour, that's actually a funny story.
Okay,
because
let's hear
my
it.
first game about infected zombies was Dead Island, actually, the first Dead Island, released in 2011. And after playing this game, we had a strange situation when you actually run to inside the building and then to the dead-end street, and there was just a wall, and you died. And we thought that it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Normally, everyone will try to climb on this wall because it's a fighting for your life, even if you are, not so
Physically.
Yeah. But you still kind of, at least you'll try.
Yeah.
So we experiment with climbing, and then climbing was kind of boring because every game got climbing. So we thought that maybe we should create something around the hero that could be really unique in this world. So parkour comes out, and we have a parkour guy. And in Dying Light 2, it's even more important. It's evaluated. We evaluate the parkour to create even bigger experience, more freedom, and to feel better with the parkour. So there are 3 areas that we improve in the parkour. The first is more connected to visuals. So we double the amount of animations. We create a lot of context situations. So sometimes player will play a little bit different animation to make you feel that it's really natural, because that's the main goal for this first area, to create more natural experience, like you're not controlling the avatar but human body. So that was the first thing. The second area, which is my favorite, it's connected to the level design and to the design of the activities, quests, and stuff like that. We wanted to connect parkour with a lot of things in the world, not just traversal, but also to activities you have in the game, or quests, and to make you feel that you are really important in this world. You are one of the kind. To make sure that it's not just traversal, but there are really a lot of things that you need to do because you're parkour and other people cannot do. So that's why they need you.
Setting you apart.
Yeah,
Love that.
yeah. So that's the level design. And the third area, we created something called the parkour puzzle, and it's the entire parkour moves, combat, everything which is physically, connected with physical appearance. It costs stamina. But if you're running through the city, there is when you're jogging, stamina is not kind of
Being used?
Yeah, being used, being actually restored in certain cases. So it's not a problem if you're traveling through the city. So you have a really best possible flow. But sometimes there are locations where you really need to climb up, hang a lot of time in one place, find a way where to go. So in those cases, you need to measure your stamina somehow and find a way. What's the best possible way to get up, for example?
With this much stamina,
yeah,
or this
yeah,
much,
okay, that would be nice place to where I can rest, for example, and then I will continue my journey. So it's more like a strategical approach to the parkour in certain section, and it's really amazing. It creates a lot of tension, and at the end of the day, a huge blast of satisfaction. Yeah.
Absolutely, it sounds like it, and I can almost envision people like turning into almost like a Jedi. They're just like measuring it and trying to find which way they're going to hop next, because the city looks dynamic. It looks
look
huge,
at that.
very vertical, as the guys are seeing here on the demo. And I love the idea that you can start to approach and see kind of how you're gonna your plan of attack.
Yeah.
How you're gonna do that.
Yeah, we were actually talking a little bit earlier, and I know you've mentioned a couple things, but let's talk about the unique weapons and tools. What can you tell us about Dying Light 2's?
Besides that, there are a lot of them. I can tell you that the entire weapons tool system is, those things are connected with features that are supporting combat and movement. Yeah, so those are supporting features to our pillar. As I mentioned before, we massively improved all of the pillars in the way to give players more freedom, more options, more feel like I'm the guy. It's a really my invention how to proceed. Yeah. So all of the tools, all of the weapons, the crafting and stuff connected to those things is giving you this option, those options. So like if you're crafting your weapons, you create more options actually, how to kill the enemy, how to avoid maybe combat somehow, or give more options to proceed with parkour, for example, if we're talking about tools. So it's more like no more damage, higher damage, but it's more like gives you more, active things, yeah?
Yeah, a little bit of a pizzazz to slaying them. I like it.
It's because it's more emphasized on action rather than RPG, so like timings are important, windows are observing the enemies is important, so that's why these tools works best with this idea for combat.
Nice. Now, no battle royale, although I would argue 1 versus 1,000 zombies might be considered its own battle royale.
No.
But multiplayer was a big part of the first Dying Light. Again, I was a big fan of it. I played with my friends.
Yeah.
It was a blast. What can we expect with multiplayer with Dying Light 2?
For sure, the very important element, co-op, will be there, so you'll be able to finish the entire campaign with your friends. There's something more about multiplayer that we're working on, but right now I can't tell you anything more about that. But it's not Battle Royale.
It's not battle. You heard it here. Not battle royale for Dying Light.
Kill the buzzword. Kill the buzzword.
What was the most requested feature for the new game?
Internally, it was choices and consequences. That's a funny story because we were playing Dying Light and it was like, oh, this is an open world game. There's this systemic, no script, so great agency, and then the story, and you are Kyle Crane, and he's making the decisions, not you. So it was like a problem for us. Like, it's not the ultimate experience of the open world where you really have a linear experience in a story, and actually the decisions are not yours. But on a gameplay side, you can pick whatever you want.
Yeah.
So that was the problem. And so internally, we thought that choices and consequences are really important. And for the last 2 years, we've been working with Chris Avalon about on a system that works best with the action games, because Dying Light 2 is still action game. Yeah.
What that sweet spot?
Yeah.
Now I know community is core to the game, so I'm always kind of wondering here from the community side. What are some of the community events that you guys have worked on to help create for the community? Nothing you can share about now?
Not now, yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Listen, we're perfectly okay. We want to throw
Okay.
some questions to try to see. Is there anything else you want to share about Dying Light 2
Yeah.
before we jump to our, I think we might have trivia for this one? Yes, we do. So is there anything else you want to leave the fans with?
I think we covered most of the topics I'm allowed to talk about.
That's fine. I like it. Playing it
It's
safe.
always
Stay tuned for more Dying Light 2 information.
Yeah.
Make sure you're following the developer, keeping in check there. But keeping in check over on your side, make sure you're getting your devices ready for voting. So again, we've got another chance for you to win prizes for trivia. So I'm going to shoot up a question here in about
There it is.
5 seconds here. So get ready. Remember, typing in chat doesn't help. You've actually got to click on it in order for it to register. And we're going to shoot you that first question now. How many years after the first game does Dying Light 2 take place? We talked about it. If you're listening, is it 2 years, 5 years, 9 years, or 15 years? No
You're
hints.
not allowed to give
no
any
hints. Oh no. Oh no. Is it A, B, C, or D if you're paying attention? Time is up. We're going to see who got it right and who's paying attention and who's watching.
Who's watching?
And again, we have
And
prizes.
Yahtzee. That's a
And
big 1-5.
38% it looks like got you. It's 15 years for that one, taking place from Dying Light 1 to Dying Light 2. Second question.
Yeah, second question. What's the name of the virus in Dying Light? Paran virus, the sickness, brain blight, or necrovirus? I was going to make a joke about this is what they called me in college, but there's too many jokes, so here we are.
There's a couple.
Oh, time's up there, y'all. Okay, what's the correct answer?
It was A, the
It
Haran
was,
virus.
in fact, Haran virus.
Ding, there we go. 36% hanging in there.
Surprised by the 36% at all? Interested? Yeah.
I mean,
What was
Loading
the
the next
name?
question.
Oh, used for the zombies in the Dying Light. We also mentioned this.
Zombros. I love that.
Infected, dead ones, ghouls,
Zombros.
Zombros. Yeah, where were
No,
you
not-
guys with that? Where?
I like
Come
it.
on.
No, it's all right. Time's up. New enemy type, maybe. The Zombros.
I think Zombros, yeah.
Double popped.
They like
polos.
bros, but
Zombies.
infected.
Like really, like bros. Douchey bros.
Yeah.
Am I allowed to say that?
I love it. Infected win, of course, 68% of you obviously getting that right. Strong win there.
Yeah.
That was no low. It was an easy one.
That was
Last
easy, yeah.
one, yeah.
We got one more question here. In Dying Light, you play what character?
Wait,
Max East, Jax Fisher, Enzo Cage, or Kyle Crane? All very manly names.
They all too kind of sound like accountants, if I'm being completely honest.
There we go. Time is up on that one. The actual answer was Kyle Crane.
Kyle Crane, CPA.
You got to go through a wonderful story experience with Kyle Crane and go through like that whole. I won't spoil Dying Light 1 because y'all need to play it.
Hey.
There we go. Strong
Got some fans there in
47%.
the,
It's going to tabulate now the winners again because speed does count when you're
Yep.
voting there, and it's going to let us know who actually won
Yep.
that on a leaderboard here. And again, make sure you guys
Leaderboard.
stay tuned because we have more
Louis
prizes.
John, I think it's Louis John Smith.
I think
Yeah,
that's
that's a
fancy.
fancy
Maybe
ass,
that's
yeah.
five?
95
A fancy
points.
ass.
Congratulations for winning. Awesome. And again, we're doing the interactive voting for almost every segment here. And we got prizes, so make sure you're hanging in there.
Hey, Adrian, thank you so much for being here. Absolutely appreciate it. Dying Light 2 we're very excited for. And obviously we are here on the Mixer stage, and while we ready our stage for more exciting content, let's head to our cruise in the field.